So this one. Right. So this shows you schedule of this class, but from last year. So I will revise this one, but it is just a sample. You may see that. So for the beginning, say up to 3 weeks, I may have a lecture alone. But now after say 3 weeks, then you start student lecturing start, and also discussion. So this class is divided into 3 parts every time. And 75 minutes is divided into 3 parts of 25 minutes. So that it is expected that student lecture should be about 20 minutes. Okay? And also another discussion time is around another 20 minutes. And that discussion is led by one of you. So that is the class organization. Right? And this time I tried to switch the sequence of my lecture and say this one. Last year I started my lecture, and then second term group is student lecture, and then goes on student discussion. But this time I'll try to do second time. So students start lecturing 20 minutes, and then myself will lecturing 20 minutes, and go on to discussion led by one of you. I put your names here. And then project proposal should be 3 times midterm, project midterm, and project final. And exam is only 1 time, midterm exam, written exam. Open book, it will be open book. And then there can be some, say, invited lectures. Last time it was Professor Na. He was old Korea Navy officer. And Professor Park is coming from Hyundai Heavy Industry, or shipping company. So I should turn off this one. Okay. Right. So that can be the, and also one change can be, we start from naval architecture classes first. Last year, the ocean engineering started first. The topic, the subject, started with the coastal engineering, ocean plant, something like that. But this time I will try to cover starting from shipbuilding, naval architecture, general arrangement, and ship design, procedure, hull form, something like that. So I will modify this schedule for this semester and then hand out next week. All right? Okay. Then any question? No. So I can continue my lecture. Ocean engineering overview. So shipping network, and the key at the left hand bottom, there is a key is saying world largest port, volume per year, 10 million tons. So it's a cargo traffic, terms of tons, tens of, so larger circle means more cargo traffic, right? And you see that in Asia countries, especially for China, there are so many ports which is moving more and more cargoes. And near Australia bottom and also Indonesia, there is a big circle. It is Singapore. Singapore, because many ships, most of ships are traveling toward between Europe and Middle East and also East Asia. They need to pass around Singapore. That's why Singapore was one of the biggest ports around the world. And Europe, you can see that biggest port is Rotterdam in Netherlands. And in the United States, you see that Port of Newark and what is it, New Orleans and Houston. It looks similar. And Los Angeles is not so big. Right? Then this is around New York. You see that from New York, right-hand side, Brooklyn and Manhattan is here. And then Hudson is famous with the river. And Newark has an airport there, a New York airport. And there is a port of Newark container terminal, and Mahar terminal and APM terminal. This is a private terminal owned by and operated by a company. So Mahar and APM is a famous terminal operation company. So they rented larger area of port from each nation to operate. And right-hand side, you see that Red Hook container terminal 2, but size is not so big. And another smaller ones. And New Jersey is the left top corner. And offshore platforms. Ocean plant. There are different types of offshore plant or ocean plant. And you see that the depth of the water is different. And it depending on the depth of the water, the type is differentiated. Before going on to a platform type, you see that the bottom of the water, ocean bottom, there are also structures, right? Pipings and some structures. They are the real structure who pumping out oil and gas from the earth. And that oil and gas is transported through above the bottom area by using pipelines, and then finally goes up to the water surface using another kind of pipe. We call it a riser pipe. So each offshore platform has riser pipes to transport the oil and gas from the bottom of the sea. You can turn off your microphone when you are not speaking. That's maybe convenient to you. And for the shallow water, the offshore platform has a jack-up tile. So you can say fixed structure. But there is a limitation because of the depths of the water. Then the height of the structure platform is very big, so that the cost is high, and also because most of you are mechanical engineering background, you need to know the beam theory. Hanging beam is not easy. One side fixed, the other side is free, so that there is a force is coming from side, say water flow or waves. Then long structure is not easy to resist sustain. Right? That's why in deep water, they start to use floating type platforms. So nowadays, because of the oil and gas is empty near the land, the source reservoir oil field, gas field is becoming more and more deeper side. So that nowadays more and more deeper or floating type platforms are constructed. That's why the Korean shipbuilding company is famous in building floating type because it looks like a ship, right? Floating and moving, and they need to have a, how can I say, positioning, dynamic positioning. They should be stay at the same position, even though there is a wave and current and wind. Otherwise, the pipe is breaking, right? The riser pipe is very looks thin or smaller diameter comparing to the structure. So it is easy to break this pipeline or riser. So you need to have a good precision positioning devices. And even though the ocean is rough, wave is coming, the platform should be stable so that they can operate to produce oil and gas. So it need technology. Okay, one kind of very famous kind of ocean plant. It is a floating FPSO, a short name of floating production, storage, and offloading. Right hand side and top, there is a small figures showing that left hand side there is a FPSO is red colors, and right hand side is a drilling platform. Two very similar, looks similar. So it's the same type, two unit of drilling platforms, right? And so drilling platform, they produce probably also produce because the pipeline connected to, so FPSO is something like a storage device, not exactly producing oil and gas from the sea bottom. They are just collecting and storing and processing oil and gas, oil or gas. So the pipelines are connected to two drilling platforms and also sea bottom stations. Right? So pipeline and risers collect oil or gas to the FPSO. So FPSO is doing a floating vessel for processing and storage of oil and gas. And it is good for remote area and deep water because so that it is floating, not fixed type, jacket type, where seabed pipelines are not cost effective. And once the field, oil field or gas field is empty, the FPSO can be moved to another position or location of reservoir field, oil field. So this picture shows that right-hand side is FPSO and left-hand side is CPF, we call something like a platform for production or drilling. We call this is a drilling tower. Right, so that's enough for today. So I may show you one more slide and right, then we go to another slide set. Right, this is also not real physical picture. It is a concept picture drawn by computer graphics. But it's coming from, idea is coming from MIT. They tried to build a nuclear power plant and floating type. Because you may remember that Fukushima is a city name of Japan where the nuclear power plant is exploded. That was a very big disaster recent years. And the problem was the cooling water pump is not operated because of the electricity something. But if you build a nuclear power plant near or around or above the water, there are so many water there. Actually, the Fukushima plant was near the sea, so that there are also enough water, but the problem was pumping system of electricity. Anyway, MIT proposed that nuclear power plant or offshore power plant. All right. Questions? No? All right. Then I'll show you some tips to you when you come into your class lecture. Have you had a chance to have a lecture yourself in another class? Raise your hand, please. Do you have any experience of lecturing? 10 minutes or 20 minutes? Nobody? Then let me show you the tips for. All right, this one. So it's a small tips how you can provide your lecture smoothly. And also you can see the previous slide video from the website. TA collected YouTube videos from previous years. So you can see how the previous student has a lecturing and our discussion. Anyway, the PowerPoint material should be provided by myself. But that one is old one, last year or 2 years ago. And then you can modify, upgrade them. On the website, there is only PDF is available. So then it's not easy to modify them. Right? So I will provide a PPT, which can be easily modified. And suggestion for improvements, video clips from YouTube. You can use a keyword search in YouTube. There are so many good videos. So you can select some of them to explain the concept and technology. In addition to PowerPoint text and images from me, video is much easier to understand, right? And also you may search for additional images using a Google search or something like that. That one was very good in previous experience. And discussion, how can you lead discussion sessions? Oh, it is only for lecture discussion. So sometimes today was not good for me because nobody raised questions to my lecture. So I solely make a speech, a sole speech, alone speech. It is not good. So it's better to make a discussion or interaction between lecturer and listener, audience, and so audience participation is important. But it's not easy. So you need to help lecturers, right? And there are more. Can show you later time how to make a term project and how to midterm exam and how to lead the discussions. So that will coming in later stages. All right. that's enough for today time. And because the participation, or how can I say, class change limitation is by this week, then next week time we will have a more concrete set of participation of students. So we may try to make a Kakao group talk next week for efficient, quicker communication between us. So for the international student, I hope you can create your Kakao account. It is not easy, not difficult, right? I heard that. I don't know. Right?
Professor,
Question? Yeah.
I have a question. When can we when can we choose our lecture and discussion dates?
Your lecture coming on the schedule, but you start with say around third week or fourth week. You
Oh,
start from student lecture.
Can we choose, or is it designated for us?
I
Can we
will.
choose?
I will provide schedule myself, but
Oh, okay.
then you can modify with another student, say exchange if you have a problem.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Trade your schedule between you.
Okay.
Right? Then see you next Tuesday. Right?
Thank you.
Yeah. For now.
Thank you.
You.